Hebrews 11:1. Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see.
Does anyone know what the study of weather is called? It's called meteorology. Meteorology is the science we use to determine what the weather is going to be like. It's the science that helps us to know whether we need to wear jeans and sweatshirts or t-shirts and shorts. It's a science that helps us know if we need to grab our umbrella before we leave the house. People who study the weather are called meteorologists. They have a really hard job. They use all sorts of scientific equipment to measure weather. They use thermometers, barometers, atmospheric pressure, radars to predict what the weather is going to be like a week in advance. And I don't know if you've ever seen a meteorologist on TV, but sometimes their predictions aren't always right. Weather is constantly changing. It's cold in the morning and hot in the afternoon, or vice versa. A beautiful, calm day can end in dangerous storms. And just one change in the atmosphere can change the whole forecast for the entire week. Storms are unpredictable and they can be dangerous. In the Midwest United States, people are always wary of tornadoes. I know we have those in our area. On the East Coast, people keep an eye out for hurricanes. And on the West Coast, tsunamis. And then there are the winter storms that blanket the earth with snow and ice or both. Life can throw some storms of different kinds at us. These storms can come in the form of bad news, big changes in our family, life, death of a loved one, parents changing jobs, or maybe even getting divorced. And these storms are unpredictable and they're scary. Fortunately, though, we have someone who is on our side who's more powerful than any storm.
Luke 8:22 through 25. One day he got into a boat with his disciples, and he said to them, "Let us go across the other side of the lake." So they set out, and as they sailed, he fell asleep. And a windstorm came down on the lake, and they were filling with water and were in danger. And they went and woke him, saying, "Master, Master, we are perishing." And he awoke and rebuked the wind and the raging waves, and they ceased, and there was a calm. He said to them, "Where is your faith?" And they were afraid, and they marveled, saying to one another, "Who then is this, that he commands even winds and water, and they obey him?"
The disciples were not in a modern boat with sophisticated weather equipment and advanced safety gear. They lived in a time when storms could mean certain doom. The wind and the rain would come, and the boat would start to sway, and they would be terrified. They were literally thought that they were going to die during this storm. Imagine how they must have felt then when Jesus stopped the storm with one word, and suddenly it was gone. It went away. One word from Jesus in the storm that it looked like their certain death was just gone. The storm was no big deal for Jesus. He could send a storm away with just a word because he's the Son of God. Jesus shows us in this lesson that when we face uncertainties and storms in our lives, that we can hand them to him. All of us are going to face storms in our lives, sometime or another. Big storms or little storms. Maybe a small storm might be that you get sick and you have to miss a basketball game or a friend's birthday party. A big storm that might be bigger and more frightening could be the death of a loved one, a move, a divorce. Big or small, these storms always come without a warning. They hit us like storms. The disciples had on the sea. They didn't know it was coming. It came out of nowhere, and it rocks our worlds, and it threatens to sink us. And we wonder if we're ever going to see the light of day again. When we have hard times in our lives, our first reaction is to be hands-on. We don't want to be out of control. We want to have control. We want to fix things our own way. We want to set these things right. But sometimes the storm is just too big for us. Sometimes the wisest decision we can make is to hand our problems to Jesus. Instead of being hands-on and making it worse, we need to hand it off. We need to remember that Jesus is bigger than any storm we face. He's more powerful than the wind, the rain, and the storm. And even if the storm lingers, And we know we can have peace because we can put it in Jesus' hands. We can trust that Jesus is going to get us through the storm and into clear sailing. Storms are scary. Storms are unpredictable, but we don't have to be afraid of the storms that rock our lives. Have wisdom to know when to hand your problems to Jesus. Have faith that Jesus is going to take care of you no matter how bad the storm may be. Thank you, God, for being a God who helps us make wise decisions and who can take our problems and our storms.
All right, guys, today's experiment is a rain cloud. So just like the disciples learned to trust Jesus in their storm, we can learn from their example to trust him as well. So the things we're going to need for our experiment are some water. So I have a tall glass with water. I have a little glass with some water. I have some food coloring. I have a dropper, and I have some shaving cream. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my colored water, and I'm going to make my green food coloring, and I'm going to turn the water in my little glass green. Some green drops in there. Moms and dads, you're probably going to want to help with this project just so nobody gets anything in their eyes or in their mouths that could make them sick. Stir my water up a little bit. So I've got some green water in my dropper as I'm going to spray it out. Now with my shaving cream, this is definitely a mom and dad helping with because we don't want friends to get shaving cream in their mouth. It does need to be supervised. But I'm going to take my shaving cream and I'm going to put it on top of my clear water. This is going to be my rain cloud. All right, ooh, that's a pretty big cloud. Now as I drop my rain or my water that's in my atmosphere on my cloud, let's see what happens. See if I can make it rain. As my rain cloud gets heavy, it's going to begin to rain into my clear glass. Hopefully. The thing about science is sometimes you have to try things over and over before they start to work. Oh, I can see it. It's kind of getting into my cloud at the bottom. Ooh, my cloud's getting heavy with my rain. Pretty soon it's going to start raining. Oh, I can see some. Can you guys see it? Ooh, the storm's going to start. Got some more. See the clouds starting to rumble. Remember, this is what happens in our storms before they start. Start to see the dark clouds coming in the sky and they're rumbling. And the sky changes colors. Look right underneath it. You can see it start to turn green. Notice as my cloud starts to get heavier and heavier with water, it's going to start raining into my glass. Oop, look, it's starting to come. There it is. Can you see it? Starting to see some green towards the middle of my glass of water. Yeah, it's starting to rain a little bit inside my glass. You see some of the green. Well, I encourage you to try this experiment at home this week and see what you can make your rain cloud do. Remember, no storm is too big for Jesus to handle. Make it stick. Through many miracles and a few storms, the disciples learned to put their faith in Jesus. Putting our faith and trust in Jesus is a wise choice because the Bible shows us that God is more powerful than anything. Try this week's experiment at home. What does this experiment have to do with what we learned about trusting Jesus in storms? Let's talk about it. What happened to the disciples when they went out on the boat? What did the disciples learn when Jesus calmed the storm? What kind of real life storms can we give to Jesus?